In this video, we will show you how to bleed the brakes on this Dodge Ram 1500. Make sure you have some clean .3 brake fluid and some parts cleaner. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. Locate the master cylinder on the driver's side inside the engine compartment. Once you find that master cylinder, we're going to carefully remove the brake fluid cap here. When removing this, you want to be extremely careful. No fluid makes its way onto your painted surface and no debris makes its way inside of the system. A quick inspection of the steel on the cap and we'll set that aside. Now continuing from here, we want to try to remove as much fluid as possible from inside of the brake fluid reservoir. I'll be using my fluid extractor. Let's continue on, topping off that brake fluid with .3. There we are. We can see we're up to the full line. Temporarily reinstall your cap. We'll just rest that right on top. We're starting at the passenger side rear wheel area. To remove your wheel, you want to remove all 5 of your 21mm lug nuts, remove the wheel. After that, we're going to make our way along the backside to start loosening up the bleeder screw. We have a collection receptacle in this area so we can recycle the fluid properly. The sequence for this starts at the passenger side rear, then we're going to go to the driver's side rear. After we've bled both of those brakes, we need to stop back at that master cylinder and top it off. Then we'll continue on to the passenger side front, ending at the driver's side front. Now, as far as bleeding the brakes, it's pretty much going to be the same on each wheel. We want to attempt to bleed the brakes several times, removing as much of the original fluid from the area and any air, and make sure it's only clean, new brake fluid making its way out. This is going to be easiest having a second person inside of the vehicle. The person inside of the vehicle is going to pump up the brakes approximately 3 to 5 times and hold it there. While they're holding, they're going to let me know. I'm going to have my collection receptacle on here, open up the bleeder screw, and we'll be watching the fluid make its way out. We'll repeat this process as many times as necessary. Go ahead and pump up the brake pedal, please. For the rear bleeder screw, I'm using an 8mm. Go ahead and pump, please. Go ahead and pump. Okay, go ahead and pump. Just going to go ahead and remove this so we can have a closer look at the bleeder screw itself while we continue. Go ahead and pump, please. Now at this point, we've bled this brake several times. At first, we could see a lot of dirty fluid making its way out and some air. After a while of continuing that process, I could see it was only clean fluid making its way out. So we're sure we're done on this side. Let's go ahead and clean up the mess over on this side. We'll make our way over to the driver's side rear next. You can use some parts cleaner or even some water if necessary. Back at the master cylinder here, we can see that the fluid is a little low. Let's go ahead and top it off up to that full line again. We'll rest the cap in place. We're going to repeat the process of bleeding the brakes. We have our collection receptacle under this area to catch any fluid, and I also have this one as well. As for the front bleeder screws, we're going to be using a 10mm as opposed to the 8mm we used on the back side there. Go ahead and put this on here. Now we'll be paying attention through the hose here for any air bubbles and of course that fluid. Go ahead and pump up the brake pedal, please. Go ahead and pump. Go ahead and pump. All right, that's all looking pretty good. Get this off of here. Go ahead and pump up the brake pedal, please. Now we'll be watching that bleeder screw. We're waiting to see if we see any air coming out. That's perfect. You can release, thank you. Now we've bled this brake several times, making sure that we had only clean .3 brake fluid making its way out, no dirty fluid, and definitely no air. We'll go ahead and clean up the mess on this brake, repeat the process over on the driver's side front brake. After you've completed that, you need to make your way back up to that master cylinder one last time. If you happen to have a bleeder screw cover, you can install that, of course. Alright, I finished bleeding all the brakes, so we're back up at the master cylinder under the hood, as I mentioned. I can see that the brake fluid is pretty low here. We want to make sure we top it off up to the full dot, right up along the top here. Got our clean .3. There we are. When installing the cap, you want to make sure you completely have it seated so it's sealed. Double check, make sure it's secure. If you did happen to make a mess up here, you want to make sure you clean it down. Brake fluid is corrosive. You don't want it getting on the paint. If there's any on the paint, just go ahead and use some water to clean it off. Okay, friend, we finished our brake bleeding sequence. We've already cleaned the mess. The next thing you want to do is go ahead and check for leaks, reinstall the wheels, torque each of those to 115 foot-pounds, and then take your vehicle for a road test. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.